Write down this example problem and then we'll talk about it here. 30% of the students ride the bus. 30% of the students ride the bus. If 210 do not ride the bus, how many students are there in all? Jot that down. I'll give you a second or two to finish that. Done? I will tell you, back in the day, I don't know how many years ago, I used to come up with these really long kind of equations for this sort of thing. It was really kind of confusing. I have since learned much better and much easier. And life for everybody is better. The very simplest way to do this, children, is because percents are nothing more than ratios, you are going to solve this using a ratio box. I can tell you, you can't go wrong using a ratio box because it's the easiest, simplest way to do this. So let's start with this, and they will always look like this. When you're talking about percents, it's going to look like this. We've got our percent, we've got our actual, okay? And then on the other part of the graph, or grid, or table, or whatever it is, okay, you've got what things you're comparing or talking about, okay? I am talking about students, but more specifically, I am talking about students that do what? Morgan?
Ride the bus.
Okay, so I've got students that ride the bus, and because I'm talking about you either do or you don't ride the bus, you've got students that ride the bus, you've got students who do not ride the bus. And if you add the students that do ride the bus with the students that do not ride the bus, guess what you get? You get all the students. Because you either ride, you can't put with one foot outside the door and half of you ride the bus on your body and the other half not. This is all or total. There's my box. I just need to fill in the blanks that I know. What do I know of all these pieces? Do I know the percent that ride the bus, the percent that don't ride the bus? Do I know the all percent? Ooh. Do I know how many actually ride the bus, how many don't ride the bus, or how many total students there are? What do I know of those 6 boxes? Which ones can I fill in with the info I've been given right here? Gabe?
210 students don't ride the bus.
210 students do not ride the bus. So I stick that here. That's the actual number that do not ride the bus. So far, 1 down, 5 more boxes to go. Sam Poppin, after 3 weeks of break, he's fresh and ready to go, yes?
On the ride, 30%.
I know that 30% ride the bus. All right, I'm down to 2 out of 6 boxes now. You can fill in a bunch more just based, the rest of this partially is logic right now. Ava Wyrick.
100%.
Yeah, all is always 100%. If you have everybody and everything, that's 100%. That's the given part. Yeah, sometimes it's not as obvious as you'd like. And then Nicole says?
70% do not ride the bus.
Exactly. 70% do not, because these two always have to add up to that 100%. Okay, I don't know either one of those two there, but I can figure them out because it's nothing more than an equal fraction or equal ratio there. Which one do I want to know? I want to know how many students there were in all, so I want to know this one. You don't need any of this information right now after you've done this. I don't need that.
Divide.
Okay. Now it is just, Kendall, how? making equal fractions with what I have. This is a fraction here, 70 over 100 has to equal this 210 over a number I don't know. And it doesn't get much easier than that because, Taylor Pavia, how do I go from 70 to 210? Multiply by,
30.
I multiply the bottom by 3, and I get 300. And there is, if I wanted to fill in what that top box is, what would it be? What number when you add 210 to it gives you 300? 90. If they asked you that question, you could fill that in right there. And again, much easier than the way I used to tell people because we used to write all these equations and this is by far a more organized way to do that. Let me throw another one at you. Maybe I'll let you try this one all on your own sometime. Bill Bill correctly answered 17 of the 20 questions. And the question is, what percent did he answer correctly? What percent did he answer correctly? And again, some of you probably are good enough right now to probably tell me that answer right off the bat, but I don't care. Okay. You are going to do, first thing you're starting off with is making your ratio, fraction, percent, slash, whatever box you want to call it. Please label it as best you can, just so you keep your thing straight. The toughest part is always figuring out what these things are, but they're just the things that you're comparing. Alright, what am I comparing here? By the way, this box is always total at the end, so that's pretty easy. So what two things am I talking about here? There you go. Taylor said it right there. You've got the correct answers and the not correct. Now I'm going to give you a second, and I want you to fill in all the boxes that you can without doing any serious calculation. Which ones of those? You'll be able to fill in 4 of the 5 boxes without really doing much in the way of math. For example, do you know how many correct answers he had, how many not correct answers he had, how many total answers he had? Do you know the percent he got correct or the percent not correct? Do you know the total percent? That's not hard. You should be able to fill in 4 of those 6 boxes without hardly doing anything. And this one's always the easiest, because 100% is always the total. How are we doing, Josh? You got it? You get an answer?
No.
Morgan? You get an answer?
Oh,
Ah. Wanted you to fill in. Show me where you got those 4 of the whatever boxes filled in. Oh, you already did the color.
4.
How many wrong did you get there, Dale? We're not talking rocket here. Here's what you should have come up with right off the bat here. He got 17 of 20 questions right. So he got 17 out of the total of 20 questions right, which means how many wrong did he get? Okay, that's stuff that you should be able to fill in without even hardly thinking. What do they ask us? Percent correct. Percent correct. Okay, so you don't really need this middle row. We didn't know that kind of till at the end. You end up with what number over 100, put a question mark there, equals 17 over 20. How do I solve that proportion slash ratio slash whatever? Holly?
17 times 5.
Right, to go from 20 to 100, you multiply by 5. 17 times 5 is 85, correct. And most of you wrote down, you got 15% incorrect. Problems, children? Nothing?